Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio post-show rewind for NXT for January the 30th, 2024. It's me, your friendly neighborhood pro wrestling hipster, Tyler, at PW Hipster on Threads, Instagram, Twitter, the Pro Wrestling Hipster over on Facebook. CJ, come on, man. Introduce yourself. Let's tell the folks who you are, and let's get into tonight's main segment.
At CJ Carter 22 on Twitter. I'm here every Tuesday night recapping NXT, every Friday night recapping SmackDown. I am excited to talk about tonight's episode of NXT. Let's do it.
Yeah, hell yeah. It was the go home show for Vengeance Day, taking place this Sunday evening. I want to say afternoon. I don't know why I thought afternoon, but it is an evening show. I think it's 8 o'clock on Sunday. So there was a go home show for that.
And, regular PLE times. Trust me, I had to make sure I can't be there. Remember?
Yes, we should go ahead and say, sadly enough, CJ will not be able to join us for the rewind on the Vengeance Day show on Sunday. But
yeah, I gotta go get paid to play with puppies instead. How dare I?
Which is pretty rad though. So I
it is.
Can't fault anyone for that. And also, we should mention tonight, our other compatriot DC Soup is not available this evening, but he will be back with us next week, I am sure. Sadly tonight for everyone, no soup for you. For all my Seinfeld fans out there. Came up in the pre-production talks. I had to do it too. But let's get into the main event segment we had this evening. We had a face-to-face with Trick Williams and Ilya Dragunov. Pretty solid promo between the two of them. CJ, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was a great promo. It really got me hyped for this match in particular of Trick's at Vengeance Day because he's double hatting on Sunday. But I'm very excited for this match. I think it's definitely it's definitely coming to a head, this rivalry friendship with Carmelo Hayes right here. I think Dragunov had to have whispered something in Trick's ear, and I think he had proof that it was Mello that tricked him or that attacked him backstage. So I think that's going to be the big reveal on Sunday. And then, yeah, of course, as we see Core Braun, as they're known around here, the Wolf Dogs, as they're acknowledged on NXT TV, attacking Trick and Ilya, and then Carmelo has to come out and make the save. Overall, I thought it was a very well written and well executed segment. It really got me hyped for this match. Honestly, the post promo attack kind of took me out of the moment.
Yeah. I did not expect it. I really thought we were about to just kind of go off air. We were a wee bit into the overrun at that point. But yeah, it was really, really well executed. And I'm glad they did it that way because they did have to hype two sets of matches there at the end. And I'm assuming that we're going to open with the tag match on Sunday, I would guess.
So that they have enough, Trick has enough time to recover before the main event. Yeah.
Kayfabe, y'all. Kayfabe. Got to give the man enough time to recover back there, get an ice bath or whatever Trick does between matches. I don't know what you do when you wrestle more than once a night.
That's a telltale sign for Money in the Bank cash-ins too. If the Money in the Bank holder has a match early in the pay-per-view card and the world title's on the line, there is a very good chance that they may cash in that night.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was a great go home segment. Like I said, hype for both matches. Really excited because I just want resolution to the angle. I'm ready for it. It's been going on since before we started this broadcast team.
I think it was 1 or 2 weeks after that attack that we started doing these rewind shows.
Yeah. So it's been a minute, y'all. It's been a minute. My notebook's getting full of notes, so I know we've been doing this for a little while now. But CJ, anything else on that main event segment tonight?
Well, I mean, it leads really well talking into our first match, the the semifinals of the Dusty Cup, Mello and Trick taking on the LWO, Joaquin Wild, Cruz del Toro. And I love, in particular, the segment in the match that for me is going to be the thing that I really show to people when I talk about how underrated a tag team the LWO is. So of course, as we know, Trick Mello Gang got the win and they're headed to the finals. But this sequence with Del Toro, who hit the cutter on Mello, which slingshotted Wild, and then he hit the move on Trick. I thought that was absolute gold.
Mm-hmm.
And it really hammers home how different the on-air presentation is between NXT and SmackDown. I mean, I said it after Joaquin Wild did the fling up the ramp too. Like, they are a lot more athletic in NXT than we see on SmackDown, which is great for the NXT audience. It's really unfortunate for the SmackDown audience.
It
But
is, and
tonight
I
was another great showcase for them to prove that.
absolutely, and I wonder why they don't present the talent that kind of floats between NXT and the main roster with a little more of that athleticism. Because it's one thing like going into Raw every Monday night, I know what I'm going about what to expect, wrestling wise. But for NXT, I know I'm going to get way more athletic in ring competition than I'm probably going to get the average Raw. That's the one thing about wrestling. You watch different brands, different companies for different things to satiate different, appetites for wrestling. And it's wild that there's so many different things in wrestling at this point. But yeah, their presentation on NXT is just wildly different than on the mains.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and even just for them to go immediately from the end of the match into Obafemi taking out the LWO, Dragon Lee coming out to try and rescue Joaquin and Del Toro. So it's setting up for the North American title match at Vengeance Day, which we kind of expected anyways. But
Right.
it's good that they are adding this element of seeing 3-on-1 matches where Femi's just able to destroy all
Yeah.
three guys.
And holy hell, did he look powerful and strong tonight? Getting to do the what I've always thought of as like the Big Show spot, where he would just it would just be like it would happen on Nitro periodically. He would just be covered in luchadors and fling them all outwardly. Like it was that spot, and it was good. He's God damn. What was the spot? Dragon Lee came off the top rope and he just chopped him in the throat straight down. Vicious looking shot. And that's one of the things I think is going to help make that match on Sunday is the amount of movement that Dragon Lee can create. Obafemi's just going to throw him around like a rag doll.
And I mean, it's one of those things that's like we talk about it, we know exactly how that match is going to play out, but I still really want to see it.
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic match. Fantastic. And I kind of hope it's the end of Dragon Lee in NXT.
I hope so, but I disagree. I think he is going to wind up stuck in NXT even longer. At the very least, until they bring Rey Mysterio back from injury and they can finish that side of the storyline between him and Santos Escobar.
Yeah, that would make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Use him on SmackDown.
Well, I mean, it's just throwing this time with the LWO stuff. Like, it's what they're doing in NXT anyway. Like, I don't know.
Which
I thought when the North American title came off of him, he'd be done. But I mean, they always have to do the flippin' rematch clause, which I hate. By the way, make it stop, Sean. You have the
wasn't
power.
it like in that big McMahon family we're giving you what you want speech? Wasn't part of that getting rid of automatic championship rematch clauses?
Yeah, but I mean, that was just lies. As much as I
Lies
love
from the
wrestling,
McMahon family?
right? WWE line. Speaking of lies, I just want to say again last night, first hour was supposed to be commercial free. At 8:53 Eastern, they went to a commercial.
Oh, those bastards.
But I just want to say that we here at Dirt Sheet Radio maintained our promise to be commercial free for the first hour of the show, as well as any portion that went into the second. It's a free show, guys. Thanks for watching.
For,
Uh,
for now.
for now, yeah.
Card subject to change. Sponsors
Always.
subject to appear.
100% guarantee.
Man, if Mars decided out of the blue to just start sponsoring the show, I mean, I'm not going to speak for John, but if I was in his shoes, I absolutely would jump on that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Sponsorship always open, guys. But moving on, we had a backstage segment. Rich Holland was speaking to the NXT GM, youngest GM in the history of WWE, Ava, or as I saw her called on Twitter tonight, the Pebble. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so now I'm imagining Fred Flintstone's daughter, though. Like, I'm not imagining
that's fair.
like the Rock's daughter.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Although I guess that was Pebbles, not the Pebble.
Right, there you go. But she actually seemed a little more natural. You're shaking your head no, CJ. I thought she came across just a hair more comfortable tonight. Not a lot. Like, okay, you know what? Maybe they need to give her like half of like, a weed gummy or something. Just like
Tyler, you're talking about like you said it was a hair short. I'm fucking bald, and I'm telling you, a hair short is not even 100% accurate. It is. This woman needs an acting class. Her father knows like 90% of the acting coaches in Hollywood. It's not like he can't afford to get her the best. There should be better than this. Like, it's flat is really what it is. Like, it's toneless. It's just wild. I'm here. Charisma. I'm saying this. I'm the general manager. Like, it's horrible voice, by the way. That's not me trying to imitate Ava. I'm gonna stop ranting.
Charisma is not genetic, I suppose.
No.
Good God. But hey, I was trying to give her a little bit of credit, but I'm just too
eager to tear someone down.
It's all right. We'll see how she develops over the next year. Maybe a year from now, we'll be talking about like, hey, she's genuinely better. If she's still this bad, she's only keeping the job because of who her dad is. So,
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, but
we were all thinking it. We might as well say it. But anyway, so Rich Holland was back there talking to her. He wanted to fight all of Gallus at once, which I actually wouldn't mind seeing. I think they could probably work an interesting match with that. But they were interrupted by Lexus King, who approached with a gift basket full of items relating to him, which was fantastic. I love every backstage segment that he is involved in. He is really, really leaning hard into this character, and you can tell he's having a lot of fun with it, and it's coming across as natural. Take a fucking note, Ava.
Yeah, like, he is exactly what his character needs to be. He's pretentious, he's cocky, he's an asshole, he's full of himself. He is everything that they want the NXT universe to hate, and he is nailing it. Like, there is not a week that goes by where Lexus King comes on my screen and I'm not just immediately like, with this guy again. But he's so good at it, so he's gonna go far with it.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll say it's like his general physical presentation encapsulates what he is. As I will say, the fiance barely pays attention to wrestling. There are some people she recognizes more main roster stuff, but she has kind of looked up from reading, saw him, and said, "Oh wow, who's that guy? He looks like a real douche. Look at that beard." And it's just like, yeah, that's it. There you go. That's what you need to know about him. And then I explained, I'm like, hey, remember when Steve Austin broke into that guy's house with the gun and he threw the kiddie pool? She's like, yeah. I'm like, that was that guy's kiddie pool. He's still angry about it.
I saw that headline the other day and I was just like, there's no way that I think it's going to happen, but if we ever see Stone Cold come down to NXT, Lexus King has to interrupt.
Oh, yeah, 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 absolutely. And he'd probably want to do something with him. That'd be wild. Make it happen. Come on. Do it as a favor to
Oh yeah.
HBK.
Do it. You won't, coward. No, just kidding.
Jesus. Oh my God. The gauntlet has been thrown. Woo.
I
Ah, man.
am legal disclaimer, I'm not serious. No.
Okay, fair enough. Do not want to fight HBK.
I am
All right.
not uh, the obsessed stalker or obsessive fan that Tatum Paxley is for Lyra Valkyria. Segue
Right.
heading into a backstage segment with Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. There was a little picture on the table where
Very
um
Stratus.
like
Very Chris Stratus.
this
Oh,
isn't even like Trish Stratus, Mickey James anymore. Like, yes, okay, it is, but it feels a lot more um not toxic in a way, but just kind of darker. Um
yeah. Yeah.
I love this storyline. Like this is another character done very well. Tatum
Oh, she
Paxley
is knocking
as
it out of the park every week with that. And again, she looks like she's having so much fun doing this.
oh, absolutely.
But yeah, fantastic segment. I again another character worker on the show that every single segment backstage is brilliant. I don't know who's writing these or how much input they have in them themselves. I would like to think that the wrestlers have a lot of input down there because I feel like Shawn Michaels is the kind of guy that himself was given a lot of leeway and workability and flexibility with what he could do with his character. So you think that they would kind of want to impart that to the generation of wrestlers that they're training, but they come across really well done, not hokey, just a touch of comedy. But like you said, there's a darkness there. Like you want to laugh, but at the same time, the hairs just kind of want to stand up a little bit because you feel like, yeah, it's kind of funny, but she might smother you in your sleep and stuff a pillow into your like larynx or something. Like it would be rough.
I'm not gonna lie, if that's how I go, that's how I go.
If he dies, he dies. Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
like, yeah, what a way to go. Like,
But
but I
that
mean,
led.
it's yeah, like even the reactions from Lyra as far as why did you attack Roxanne Perez? Well, because she was taking up so much of your attention. Like they're really good at laying the seeds for what's to come as far as long-term storytelling goes. And I meant to mention that even in the last segment, the little things, even with Mello and Trick's entrance, like it starts out with Trick's music, and then right at the moment where the fans get the most hyped and most into it, they switch to Mello's music.
uh,
They're conditioning you
to hate
subliminally to
his
hate
music.
Carmelo
Damn.
Hayes. Like
And
it's the little things, and I love
Shawn
seeing, like,
Michaels
it's
back there with
why.
a slow cooker. This is wild.
Well, even on the
HBK's
main
killing it.
roster, it's like when something happens in the background that you're not expecting, or that's not the focus of the screen in the moment. So you have to be watching these little things here and there. Absolutely. Shawn Michaels, like for 2023, absolutely. I have no doubt he's got it on lock for 2024 as well if he keeps booking like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that led us into our next match, which was Roxanne Perez taking on Tatum Paxley. Went about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Roxanne Perez picked up the victory. A pretty solid match. A little short. I would have liked for them to have given them a little more time than they did. I like both of them a lot. Right now, the focus, at least in terms of push and wins, is going to be on Roxanne Perez. They highlighted this during her entrance. She had her second consecutive appearance in the Royal Rumble. So, pretty good start to the year for Ms. Perez.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, yes, I would have loved for them to have had a longer match tonight. It's the go home show for the
Mhm.
PLE, and this is the number one contender for the women's title. She should have had more of a chance to showcase, but it feels like they want to save, excuse me, that like they want to save for the bigger confrontation,
Yeah.
which is going to be between Tatum Paxley and Lyra Valkyria. I'm getting a new perspective on why it was Roxanne Perez that got this opportunity. It was because they didn't want to put it on a newer talent that hasn't had the title and would
Mhm.
be hurt more by losing their first opportunity and then immediately getting shoved to the side to start the Tatum Paxley Lyra Valkyria feud heading into Stand and Deliver.
Yep.
So I see the logic there now, because Roxanne's going to head into her next feud afterwards. She'll bounce off, she'll bounce back, she'll be fine. And then heading into Stand and Deliver, we're going to see that as the main feud. So I get why they didn't spend too much time on Roxanne at the same time.
Yeah. Makes absolute sense. Makes sense. Let's see. There we are. So moving on from there, we had a backstage segment with Ariana Grace, whom I always forget is Santino's daughter. Like, I don't know
I
how, like, I forget it all the time. Like, I don't know why. It's because for some reason she looks too old to be his daughter, but I'm sure he's a lot older than I think of him being, you know?
Well, and I mean, like, I see him on TNA, and he still looks like in decent shape. He looks, I'd say, mid 40s. So even if he is in his 50s now, he looks good as far as I can tell.
She
So
reminds me more of
hopefully,
her aunt, honestly. I just wanted to
yeah,
bring that up.
Santina. I
She
was
reminds
gonna
very
say
much.
too, like, she's a spitting image of her aunt.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a real shame that she got fired from the company the way she did. That was that,
Bummer.
actually, I believe Donald Trump fired her. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah, that's weird. Not many people. Well, I mean, it's a weird company to be in with people that have been fired by Donald Trump,
That was during
between
the time.
apprentice contestants and
Yeah,
White House staff.
it's crazy. It's we never should have turned on the Lord Hadron Collider, guys. We live in an interesting universe now. We do.
Man, 2012 was right. Like, that's when shit started going sideways.
It's wild, wild times, guys. But hey, you know what? We have good wrestling, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and this was the second. There was a lot of singles action on in the women's division tonight,
Mhm.
like 3 matches in a row. Because then we went from Roxanne Perez and Tatum Paxley to Ariana Grace going into her match with Fallon Henley, Ren Sinclair in Henley's corner.
Mhm.
And I mean, it was a good match. Seemed pretty straightforward as far as booking. Ariana Grace got the win, uh and it just like this. We did see earlier as well, Fallon Henley backstage, and she was approached by Brooks Jensen. So it seems like he's trying to worm his way back into her
Mhm.
life after the split of their team.
Well, and this was
um
the first time, and I want to say uh, just
since
about a month.
since they split, which was about a month. I think it was just before Christmas.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. And we were actually just saying, I think last week, about how long it had been since we'd seen him and wondering what they were planning to do. But again, he was dejected, left there as because he was clearly working up to like trying to like make plans with everybody. And then, Ren Sinclair walks up and she's like, "Hey, girl, we're hanging out tonight." She's like, "Yeah." And it was. I feel bad for the guy. He looks like Hall or Oates. I'm not sure which one. I get him mixed up, but he looks like one of the two. And he's got nobody to hang out with. And again, he looks like a member of Hall and Oates. It's a
Which, take that how you will. Um, but yeah, I felt like it's this mentorship role that Fallon Henley's kind of taken on with Ren Sinclair. Do you see that going the long term, especially if they do want her to play a part in
mm,
whatever's going to wind up happening between Brooks and Jensen?
I don't know how far they can really take it. I don't want them to put her in a tag team. I need her to
What's the
stay.
point? There's no tag team titles.
Exactly. But I feel like their knee-jerk reaction often. And this is an angle that they do way too frequently in NXT and Raw, pretty much everywhere where they do that, where it's like, well, we'll take the person that's established or at least slightly more established and just team them up with somebody that's new. And that's how you end up with weird things like Tegan Nox and Natalya Neidhart being a tag team. And I don't need that down in NXT. So like, I don't really know what they're planning to do with it. I don't see it being a very long-term thing. Maybe it's something where Ren Sinclair would turn very quickly on her and it would just be a short little feud for her. Because right now she doesn't really have any feuds lined up coming out of the Tiffany Stratton angle.
Well, and I mean, they could set them up for something along the lines of what Dana Brooke was doing with, I can't, her name is, I'm blanking on it right now. You know who I mean, though.
Yes. Same. Name's not coming there.
But, I hate when that happens.
But we'll move on to the Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. Real quick match tonight, 3 minutes and 27 seconds. And again, though, you're right, another prominent women's match on the card. Something I'd like to do is just kind of maybe run back through the last few months of NXT and see how many matches per night are women's matches versus men's. Because I feel like most weeks it's kind of a 5-3 ratio. Like it feels like it's very, but they have such a deep women's roster, which we say just about every week here on the show as well. But it makes complete sense. But pretty solid match. I assumed Lola Vice would be winning because I think Elektra Lopez will be on SmackDown going forward, based off of events from this past week. So kind of figured she would do the favors on the way out, as when you leave the territory, you usually lose. So happy main rostering Elektra Lopez and enjoy it up there.
Yeah, it makes sense that Lola would get the win. She's the breakout star. She's the NXT representative versus this newly drafted to SmackDown talent. Her being in Legato's corner on SmackDown is going to balance out with their feud with the LWO. They'll balance with, they'll counter with Zelina Vega, which I loved that Andrade gave her a shout out on Monday night when he signed with Raw and told Nick Aldis to give his regards to Zelina.
Oh, right on. I mentioned before the show I was having a terrible migraine, so I didn't really see a lot of SmackDown as it aired. How was Elektra Lopez's reaction? Did the crowd seem to know who she was? Was it a little muted?
It was I'm trying to even remember. I nothing special. I think it was the fans that knew her were reacting, and then the fans that didn't know her were like, "Oh, okay, they have a female now." So that's what I remember anyways.
Fair enough. All right. So moving on, we had a backstage segment with Dijak.
Sorry, just before we move on to that, there was, anytime we saw Lola Vice walking backstage, was it just me, or was she holding that contract in just the most awkward angle so that she could still show off that breakout logo on the front? I hope she was told to do that, because there's no way that any reasonable person would choose to have their arm at such that weird angle.
It reminds me, and again, I apologize to younger viewers that we have out there. A lot of my references are quite dated, but it reminded me of the scene from one of the Wayne's World movies where they're talking about not using, over the top corporate sponsorships and logos and everything, and they're just awkwardly holding things logo out like
a Pepsi can, taking the pizza out of the Pizza Hut
exactly. So that's kind of what I picture there. But you're right, she does hold it very awkwardly. She has to be being coached to do that, but it's a lot like the how they would do the whole wrestler watching a TV monitor.
Oh yeah, and they're just they're facing the camera.
Yes,
but
God, thank you. Exactly.
Love those movies, man. I haven't watched them in forever though.
Wayne Campbell, CM Punk fan. I think so.
Okay,
Clearly.
I see
Clearly,
it now. I was just like, wait, no, that was the Love Guru. That was
Well,
Mike
and
Myers
I'm
and the
pretty
Toronto
sure
Maple Leafs.
I don't know if Aurora, Illinois, where the show was supposed to be broadcast from, was a real place, but it is in Illinois, so
True.
Chicago could be pretty close by. So yeah,
Illinois represent.
there you go. See, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense.
That's like Caesar can confirm. Anyone from Canada, we are legally required to support like Canadian artists. So like that's why Bret Hart got such a like main event babyface level reactions in his feud against Stone Cold, was because the Canadian government had snipers positioned inside the building that were ready to pull the trigger if they heard any boos for the Hitman.
I had a friend of mine.
That's a heritage moment for any Canadians.
I had a friend of mine. She was Canadian, and she once told me that there is a tip.
Canadian?
Well, is still. That family bounces back and forth, kind of a thing.
Oh,
But,
okay.
But she said that they had a chip implanted in them that required them to shout out anytime they saw a famous person that was Canadian and declare to everyone in the room that that person is in fact a Canadian.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly how it goes. Sasha Banks update, please.
She's going to AEW. That's what's happening. That's the word on the street. That's what Uncle Dave said, right?
Well, I mean, as I'm sure longtime viewers of the
yeah, pretty much every prominent wrestling reporter has agreed on that one thing. She's going to AEW. Sorry. Please.
Well, I mean,
we should probably do a
viewers,
news segment at the top of all these things if we're always going to get questions like this mid-show.
I, as a former news reporter, I love that. I had something, I can't even remember what I was gonna say now because we kind of here, there, everywhere. Oh yeah, that's what it was. No, because as long time NXT Rewind viewers know, I talk extensively about my close personal relationship with Mercedes, aka Sasha Banks. We speak on a near daily basis, and she told me the other day that she's actually going to GCW.
Oh my God. You have to remember that kind of this man is
Okay, John, if you're worried about such an easily disprovable fact presented in
you would be surprised. I'll just say you would be surprised. Okay. You would really be surprised. I'll just say that without getting us in trouble.
We're going to see reports on Twitter like in 3 hours stating that she's going to
GCW. Mad Dirt Sheet Radio columnist
breaking news
is a maniac. Please be careful. He thinks Sasha Banks talks to him. Please keep her away from him. Do not allow him at the AEW press conferences.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm the reason Adam Pearce has to post reminders.
They have your picture at the AEW Canada tours. Don't let this man in. Thinks Mercedes speaks to him.
They have been to a city near me, and the only reason I didn't go was because I have no interest in AEW.
Boom, bombshell call.
I was hoping that might be a bombshell. No, I was just broke as shit and couldn't go.
I've been to one AEW show. It was the third Dynamite that they did. It was in my hometown of Charleston, West Virginia.
Oh, like third ever?
Yeah. It was October. It was October of 2019. So actually, I've been to a wrestling show since then. So it's been a long time since I've been to a wrestling show.
October 2019 was when I went to my first wrestling show.
Crazy times.
Oh,
wild
yeah.
times to be alive.
2019, the good old days.
Wild times. But moving on, we had a backstage segment with Dijak hanging out, watching footage of him beating the hell out of Joe Gacy, because that's what Dijak does. He just sits around and watches footage of him beating dudes. But all right, cool.
Hey,
we all have hobbies. Dijak's going to do what he's going to do, I guess. Relax how you want to relax, I guess, buddy. But so he's approached by Gacy. Gacy continuing to do really fantastic character work. And I got to find out where he's getting his flannels from, because he's got some
from Mick
great fucking flannels. Probably. You know what? He probably asked Mick where he gets his from. But I think that Mick would probably be like, the thrift store.
Very possibly.
It's fucking Mick Foley. I love the man to death, but like, let's be honest here.
Oh.
And I don't love Mick Foley to death just because it's the easiest, like, cheap costume for me every Halloween. But I appreciate that.
Honestly, I was just telling someone the other day how one of these years I'm going to go for Halloween as Stone Cold Steve Austin and just rock a leather vest and no shirt.
I'm saying this right now. Halloween week here at Dirt Sheet Radio is going to be fucking fun. I'm saying it now. We're gonna have a good time for a week there. It's gonna be great. But yeah. So this broke into a brawl and would lead to a segment we'll talk about a little bit later in the night. That led us to Ridge Holland taking on Lexis King. Lexis King picked up the win here in 9 minutes and 38 seconds. Pretty solid match, I thought. Lexis King continues to grow week by week and look incrementally better every single week in the ring. CJ, what'd you think of this one?
I thought it was great. Like it was a fantastic opportunity to get Lexis King over, and the fact that Gallus came out at the end and attacked Ridge Holland 3-on-1. It was a great way to to keep that feud going. So I'm happy to see that they're still finding ways to further multiple feuds at the same time.
Absolutely. They're really good at keeping a lot of plates spinning, as it would be. God, that's another dated reference. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where they would like spin the plates on the sticks. Like, I might as well just get on a bicycle that has like the giant front wheel and like just go around saying bully. I'm only 38, guys, I swear.
Your vehicle is one of those 1909 like the big like the chitty chitty bang bang car. That's what you got parked in your driveway right now.
Does it at least fly?
What? It's your car. You tell me.
Well, if it's the chitty chitty bang bang car, it flies. That's like having
talk about your dated references.
Yeah, it's like having the bed knobs and broomsticks bed and not being able to travel on that. These are incredibly dated references. If there's anybody younger than like 30, they're like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" No cap, dead ass.
No cap, dead ass. I watched Bed Knobs and Broomsticks on my birthday 3 months ago.
Boom. Still relevant, America and Canada.
Absolutely.
All right. But no, fantastic match. They clearly are putting a lot behind Lexis King. I don't know. Has he lost a singles match?
Yeah, he lost to Mello at the
right.
first
Yep.
PLE.
What, John? Sorry, John.
I will not call it a PLE. No, I said on pay-per-view. I said on pay-per-view, and I said it with my chest.
Look, I'm just trying to. I'll just beat all the marks to the punch. I'm trying to get WWE to notice me, so I'm adopting all their terms. Yes. It's sports entertainment. We're
gonna get you on the bump, baby. We're gonna make it happen.
Hell yeah. Hey, you know what? Speaking of people getting stuff, shout out to Nico, member of the Dirt Sheet Radio family. He posted a video of, was it his nephew that was excited about Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
And managed to get that shared enough, caught Cody's attention, and now that kid and his family are headed to WrestleMania weekend. That's fantastic. Props to Cody Rhodes for
Cody Rhodes. Oh, like consummate professional, babyface top guy. Like it's amazing. Like he's an awesome dude. Like you can see that connection he has with the fans every week. Like he likes to be amongst them, and he's always doing stuff like this. He's gonna be that guy's best man. Like Cody's, yeah, there we go. Yeah, hell yeah.
There we go. Oh, his cousin, yeah.
But hell yeah, like you love to see it. It's proving that WWE has made the right choice in hitching their wagon to him. He is that next Hogan, Cena level babyface that will lead the company for the next decade, and they've made the right choice. And that's why he finishes the story at WrestleMania.
I was gonna say, like, with how Monday Night Raw played out, do you think he's going to choose Roman or Seth?
If he chooses Seth, I will feel an anger towards this company that I have not felt since they were dicking over Daniel Bryan leading up to WrestleMania 30.
Okay, I mean, since we're talking about it, I did have a thought when I saw this, because I thought, why? My first thought was why. That was my singular first thought. Why are we even doing this? Because it's one thing if Cody just chooses Roman, right? But it's another thing if he's propositioned by Seth and he's like, please choose me, and then
please
Seth
make me relevant, please.
And then Seth gets declined, like, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to dance with somebody else. How the hell does Seth Rollins and his title look? Pathetic. Sat in the rain. What is this?
Straight up, on a post I commented, like, Cody was able to beat Seth with one arm. How does Seth think he's going to be able to beat Cody with one leg?
Also, you don't need to earn a title shot. It's Seth's title. He'll just give you one if you ask nicely enough.
Well, then this morning, that report came out that The Rock doesn't know. Like, they asked him about the match with Roman Reigns, and he's like, "We're working on it." And I'm like, "Is that what's happening here? Like, are they giving themselves an out? Like,
no,
just in case?"
You know what? No, the only way I accept Cody wrestling Seth is if he wrestles Seth, beats him for the title, and then does the same thing to Roman the next night. That's the only way I accept it.
I was
and
just
then we
about
have
to say
one motherfucking title again.
Champion. Oh my god, we just did this.
All the belts.
No. I'm so sorry. NXT fans like, fuck this. I don't watch Raw. I'm sorry.
It's WrestleMania season. It all
fucking hate WrestleMania. Call me when it's takeover.
This Sunday.
It used to be that way. It used to be that way in the old days, man. That black and gold
takeovers. Yeah.
Fuck WrestleMania takeovers on. Yeah. Maybe someday.
We'll see.
Maybe.
But moving on, we had a quick backstage segment with Hayes and Williams discussing the events of the past week and about the mind games that Dragunov has been playing with them. And actually, I meant to say that when we talked about the main event segment, Dragunov did actually admit to being someone that does those sorts of things, more in reference to Baron Corbin. But he did kind of tip his hat in a way that implied, even though he was referencing Corbin, he was still doing that with Trick. But that's how Dragunov is. He gets in there subtly and just worms his way in.
Well, and I still don't think that's what he's doing specifically with Trick Williams. Like, even in this backstage promo, like, the manipulation tactics were on the surface. Like, it...
I don't know if you can hear that. One second, one moment. Ziggy. Yeah, no, there are no boy cats anywhere near this place. Please stop. We're live. Okay. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Animals are gonna animal. What can you do? So like even throughout the segment, Mello continuously deflecting back to, Ilya's mind games. Ilya's the bad guy, and then you see Trick kind of try and bring that conversation back around to talk about something else. Oh, it's back to Ilya's mind games, and it's really going to come to a head at Vengeance Day. which unfortunately, I meant to mention this earlier during the recap for the semifinal match, but the Dusty Cup, when you look at the finals, you have a team that is destined for breakup in Mello and Trick, and you have a team that is destined for breakup in Braun and Corbin. So what is the significance of being a Dusty Cup winner? Even to think about going back to its origins, that first team that won it, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, they broke up like 2 weeks later. Teams like AOP that got onto the main roster, got released, and granted, they're back now. But imagine having this conversation last year when who won the tag team cup last year again? Like that was
Oh God.
like I think and there
Was
are
it pretty
exceptions to the
deadly?
rule. Like
Was it pretty
sorry?
deadly? Was
Oh,
it
it might have
pretty
been pretty
deadly?
deadly. And I was gonna say, like, there are exceptions to the rule because I think the Street Profits have won it. But I mean, teams like Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle have won it,
Mhm.
and it's they need to give it more meaning by giving it to teams that are going to be able to keep that prestige going.
I
Like
agree with
it
that.
needs to be it needs to be representative of what Dusty meant to NXT. And for them to say, "Oh, we're just going to give it to a team that isn't going to survive 2024," that is not indicative of the impact of Dusty's legacy in NXT.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely agree. Yeah, I don't, it is an odd way that they have booked themselves into this. I think they kind of enjoy the short term pairing of Corbin and Braun because I mean they have been a lot of fun. It's the most fun I've had watching Baron Corbin probably ever.
Well, and to their credit, like I know since the Rumble, the reports have come out that Braun's spot was originally going to be Brock Lesnar, but then with all the allegations tied to Vince McMahon, they didn't end up using him, and we're not going to see him at all this WrestleMania season. So eventually, we know that he was going to be main roster bound, but to their defense, if ever a defense, it could just have been bad timing, and they didn't plan on calling Braun up at right away. But even then,
Right.
it would only have been like a couple months early.
Yeah, and yeah, I think he is SmackDown bound, as it would be, because that's how they were tipping their hand Monday night when Aldis was speaking with Pierce. But moving on, we what was leading into what was billed as potentially the final segment of Chase U, and I'm sure that Darian was so excited and ready for Chase U to die. But guess what, faithful viewers? JC Jane did it. They have an calendar.
I, I, yeah,
You know
no,
this
that,
reminds me of, so no joke. No joke. And I'm sure I still have this thing in a box of wrestling memorabilia somewhere. I think it's with my old magazines from like, Attitude Era when I was in like middle school, early high
with
school.
those Diva Playboy covers.
No, the Nitro Girls calendar. I had the Nitro Girls calendar, yeah. So that's kind of what that made me think of. I'm just like, it's a calendar. It's a you're not going to save this fictional university with the calendar, but hey,
Was it a missed opportunity not to release a calendar? It could have been a limited release calendar for the people that watch NXT. It's a niche product. You sell a few pieces of paper.
They said it would be on sale Sunday, so
Did
they
they?
might.
Is it coming for real?
They said it
Like
would be on sale Sunday.
They have put a number on this Chase U debt. So if we are to understand that they are going to eliminate that significant amount of debt by selling calendars, which who do you guys have physical calendars still?
No.
So actually, I do. There we do have one on the wall, but it's just because like it's easier for us to have like a central place to visualize all the appointments and stuff because there's 4 kids in the house. So like,
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
And we have one at the shelter that I work at too, just to keep track of like vet appointments and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but that one is just like one of those laminated calendars. But I mean, this is it feels like a band-aid solution just to wrap up the storyline. Like they realize that they need to move on to something else.
It's worth mentioning that we're talking about calendar sales in the same universe where R-Truth is making like tens of thousands of dollars selling bootleg Judgment Day merch. So maybe they can make enough money to save the university then.
And yet they tell Pro Wrestling Tees that they can't sell products of WWE superstars. The hypocrisy.
R-Truth, buddy. You're breaking laws, man. Breaking laws. But Chase U.
Also, like at the end of that segment when Andre Chase hugged JC Jane and they're talking back and forth, did he say that she wasn't in Chase U until she saved it?
That's basically what she said. He's like, "You're officially in Chase U," and she made a face about it.
Yeah, like how was I not in there this whole time?
Like she's like, "Yeah, it was wild." But Chase U not going anywhere. So, Soup, if you're watching, Chase U is staying around for you, buddy. They're not.
Soup, I gotta tell you, I think you're in the minority here, man. Like, I love Chase U. They are some of my favorite character work that NXT has right now. Them and the D'Angelos, and we did get a promo from them, pre-recorded. Basically, just talking about OTM and their match at Vengeance Day. Who's your pick to win this match?
You know, I really don't know because I don't feel like they have a lot of sauce on the family, as it would be. See what I did there? It's a pun because it's like, you know, pasta. It's a terrible joke, guys. I'm sorry.
That's stereotypical of you.
Oh, like they haven't done 19 segments of them at a fucking Italian restaurant.
I can't even say it's okay when they do it because they're Italian. I don't know that they're Italian or have anyone Italian on that set. Like, I don't know if Tony D'Angelo is just like a New Yorker that's just like in real life he's never even been in Little Italy as much as Italy.
I mean, wrestlers have a strong story. Hey, Ziggy, have a strong storied history of, you know, just playing what they're told. I mean, Deuce and Domino, for God's sakes, right? Like, but no, I really don't know. Like, I honestly, I'd kind of rather it go to OTM just to give a little freshness to the tag title scene, but they're not really doing a whole lot with the family.
I mean, like they had their segment little further down the show. We just saw the screen cap from it, and I still don't get their gimmick. Like, I don't know if it's just like I don't know what isn't connecting with me as far as OTM is concerned. Like, I like Lucien Price and I'm blanking.
How are Canadian, like, how are the Canadian ghettos? How do those, are they similar to, like, I'm from the Bronx. I can say that. I don't think you can call it.
I am too white to feel like I can justifiably answer that question.
But they don't have like media, like they don't portray it in any television shows, or like you don't have a Cops or First 48.
I mean, honestly, I watch.
Is there Canadian true crime?
You know, like
I watch Letterkenny. Like, that's Canadian content. Have you got either of you guys watch Letterkenny?
I have watched Letterkenny, but they don't do but they don't show like a lot of inner city settings in Letterkenny though.
I'd love to know what the Canadian inner city,
the Hicks, the Skids, the DJs.
Yeah, okay. Here's like we'll use like, God, forgive me, CJ, because like I'm an American and we're just hideous with geography, but like I only know like 5 major cities in Canada, but I'll use Toronto as an example. Like, does Toronto have like any like well-known like dangerous, bad or rough parts? Like where was Taz always saying he was from in Brooklyn? Was it Red Hook?
It is Red Hook, but there's a lot. But Red Hook's like not a dangerous area. Like,
Is it
like,
not?
no, like
Then
not
I
not the
believe-
way not like the way he made. He's made it sound like Bed-Stuy. Like he made it sound like. But it's all right.
But
It's
I mean, like, as far as what part of Toronto is the most dangerous, I'd say the Toronto part of Toronto.
okay. So they do
but-
have like a.
Okay.
Oh
Alright.
yeah,
Because you know what,
there's-
Drake raps a lot about like in a Toronto underground, and I
Drake,
I need to
Drake
know.
was on
don't
the
mention
cross
that.
eight.
Don't
You
bring
need to
up that
know.
groomer on this show. Get out of here.
I don't want to. That's your guy. That's your guy.
That's not my
That's
guy.
your guy.
You're not my
Let me
guy,
make one thing
pal.
perfectly
He
You're not
came
my
from your
pal,
side of the
please.
border.
Hang on.
You
He
sent
is
him down
Canadian.
here. You
Oh
sent
my
him
God.
down here.
Down.
Okay, so you
Is
want to
it
talk?
Drake and
You want to
Bieber?
talk about?
We know. Oh,
comparatively the
we
number
know all the
of-
horrible things we can send out all over the place, but you guys send us Drake. Yeah.
That's the most egregious. The fact that we sent down Drake. Oh fuck.
Oh Jesus Christ!
You
Oh.
sent down Drake. You put Millie Bobby in danger. Why?
Oh God! Oh
We were
Lord,
talking about the D'Angelos.
yeah, it's about this default
No, TM.
into the inner city areas of Canada. All right, but I agree. It maybe they'll get some traction. Hell, the tag titles might help them. Just give them something to do and focus on.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a match with Fallon Henley with her new best friend Red Sinclair, and Fallon was taking on Ariana Grace. Sorry, my notes kind of don't with her. Ariana picked up the win here in 8 minutes and 38 seconds due to some chicanery at ringside. CJ, what did you think of this match? They gave it quite an amount of time, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like definitely a good chance for Ariana Grace and Fallon Henley to shine. Two, and we've said it before, like two women that have a great 2024 ahead of them. And again, like I have it in my notes, two women with a great year ahead of them, and Ren Sinclair's there too. Like I don't know how long this mentorship thing is going to last, but if it ends up turning into something that works out well for her and Fallon, great. But if not, I don't want Fallon to get sunk down to anything that's gonna detract from her star power.
Yeah, I agree.
As somebody who doesn't get to watch NXT weekly, but is very familiar with Maddie or Ren Sinclair, I find it very promising that she's already in this position on television. Like second, like it was like the very week after she signed her contract, she was already on NXT TV and now like inserted into this situation.
I wasn't familiar with her before appearing on NXT TV.
She's I found her first on AEW Dark, but then I liked her on Dark, and I started watching her in other like promos. She's on Mission Pro. She was on NWA for a while.
Okay.
But yeah, I was surprised WWE picked her up.
So,
right on.
As far as how do you think this storyline with her is going to go? Like, what do you see in her future with Fallon Henley?
I don't think it's going to be a situation where they just drop Ren. Like, I feel like just based off of them putting her with Fallon, and like everybody knows right now, Fallon is one of the like rising stars of the NXT Women's Division. I think that's really big. I think that says something. So I don't know if that means like they're about to set her up to be like her heel, because I mean Fallon needs like a heel, so a partner, like a dance partner, and this would be a really good one because she's got, I think, a little more outside wrestling experience. But
well, and especially coming off her feud with Tiffany Stratton, like the way Tiffany seemed to earn her respect, I'd have thought they would have started a tag team, which, again, kind of like we mentioned earlier, no point to starting a women's tag team in NXT. But I thought they would have been going a different direction with her than they ended up going in.
I will be we will be watching.
Exactly.
But so big things on the horizon for 2024 in the NXT Women's Division. But all right, so all right, so that'll take us up to the Heritage Cup. Oh shoot! I right past
Dijak and Joe Gacy.
Oh my god, the brawl on the trailer throws the man into a dumpster. Fantastic.
Which I like. Okay, I wasn't looking too closely, but there was such shitty editing and dialogue throughout this entire segment. Like, and then Dijak's cackle at the end, it was all just so fucking cringe. Like I liked what they were doing with cutting into the Chase U segment, brawling in the backstage area to set up this particular part of the segment, but it just wasn't needed. Like, I get that they're trying to go this route of Joe Gacy is indestructible chaos incarnate, but this just felt hokey. Like, it was to get us to a no disqualification match, which is fine, but I just don't want... Like, it felt like when they announced this match and Joe Gacy popped out of the dumpster and accepted, I felt like it was going to end with Joe Gacy looking at the camera, giving off some quip, and then you hear wah wah, and then like the screen just like zooms in on his face and cuts to black like the old cartoons. And I don't want them to turn this Joe Gacy into a cartoon. This is some of his best work, because the dyad just wasn't working. The cult leader persona just didn't click, and this is really working for him. So if they have an opportunity to capitalize on the momentum, then don't squander it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully maybe he can get a harder edge back in this match. But yeah, it came across very comic booky, but not like a well-written comic book. This was like some late 90s schlock that Rob Liefeld would have drawn. It wasn't well done. Shots fired. Sorry, Rob, if you're watching. Drawing muscles that don't
dedicated
always,
radio supporter.
We can always shit on 90s comic books on this platform. God damn it. The 90s almost killed the fucking medium. Don't get me started. I'll be here for the next 50 minutes. Variant covers and horrible gimmicks and extreme and foil and no feet and pouches. And don't get me started.
It's literally we stop talking about wrestling and start talking about comic books.
I am so fucking glad that, you know, when I finally made it into some sort of on-air wrestling medium, it was with Dirt Sheet Radio, because, like, goddamn, I just feel so at home here. It's amazing. But yeah, fuck Rob Liefeld. Anyway, so Noam Dar defending the Heritage Cup against Von Wagner, and Noam Dar does pick up the win here pretty quickly. I felt. Yeah, handily, thank you. Solid match, a little bit different for Von Wagner to be in this sort of scenario. And I don't know if he really was kind of fumbling with it, or if he's that good at his character that it appeared he was fumbling with. But he did seem to have a little difficulty fitting his style into this medium.
Well, and we did kind of see that with Josh Briggs as well, and him getting disqualified by hitting him with the bucket. But I think what their booking strategy
you can't do in a regular match either.
Very well. Certain exceptions apply, but I think the way they present Von Wagner has, like, ever since they turned him good, was just the guy that puts guys through tables. So
yeah,
if they wanted him to work a Heritage Cup match, of course it was going to end with chaos, and then Oro Mensah did end up going through the announce table, which is always happy to see. Like, I love Oro Mensah. I love seeing Oro Mensah get put through a table.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're getting to see the kids out there cheering him on. It's fun.
There's no way those are fucking Robert Stone's kids. Like, they're like, even seeing them together with Robert Stone, with Von Wagner, those are not Robert Stone's kids. Like, they can't be.
Do you think that they just found like some kids, like, some actors out there, like a little casting. Like I feel like you're right. I want to believe they are his children. If anybody out there knows, please let us know. But like I want to believe kayfabe here. I want to think this is real.
I still want to believe Von Wagner fought those kids.
I believe that he did. This is like I consider
that is, I think, along with Constable Corbin, I think that is our longest running bit on the NXT Rewind show.
Was that that might have been the first episode?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
And then every time Von Wagner shows up on our screen, I gotta bring it up.
Anytime he shows up or doesn't show up. Even when he doesn't show up, it comes up because we're like, hey, where's Von Wagner been? He's been fighting children. So, like, no matter what, it's always going to be.
It is day 142 of waiting to find out if Von Wagner fought those kids.
Exactly. But
we need to get like a counter in the corner. It has been how many days?
This is going to be one of the great unanswered angles in pro wrestling. It happens every once in a while. They take a spot somewhere and then they just drop it. You never get resolution. That was like, the last 10 months of WCW, that was every 3 weeks. So like I've lived through this before. But that will bring us back around. Actually, before it went into the segment,
did have a backstage segment.
We had discussing Core Braun, discussing their upcoming match. And you're right, like it's a fun angle, but they're destined to be broken up. Not Corbin. What if they have them win? Get the tag titles, and that's how they introduce introduce Braun to the SmackDown audience is in a tag team with Baron, or do you think that would define Braun down too much off the rip?
I think Braun's biggest asset is going to be him as a single star.
Okay.
I think
just running people the hell over.
Exactly. Like, not that this version of Baron Corbin is a downgrade, because this version of Baron Corbin is the best we've ever seen as far as I'm concerned. But I think, unfortunately, it's like you said, they're destined to be broken up, and I think we're going to wind up seeing Baron Corbin just pushed into another random singles feud.
Which this is unfortunate, because this was finally something that was working for him a little bit, and there it goes.
But if he keeps this, if he keeps these aspects of his character, can that work as a single star, or does he need that sort of odd couple tag team partner for it to really work?
Excuse me, sorry. Honestly, I think he needs that person to bounce off of. He needs that foil, kind of, an Abbott to his Costello. My God, I need newer references. I'm so sorry.
Oh God, we need to start broadcasting the show in black and white to really add that sort of vintage appeal with our references.
The laurel to his Hardy, it's I'm so
the
sorry.
Abbott to his Costello.
Who's on first, guys? This is classic comedy, though. Google it. But also we had another quick backstage segment there. Ava was screaming, not with a whole lot of emotion. Pebbles was screaming. The Pebble.
You expect me to give you a match after you threw him off the roof?
And he's fine.
Not that stilted, but definitely that tone.
And that is a hell of a nice flannel too. But he was fine. He accepted the no disqualification match set up for Sunday. So we'll see where that goes. And like I said, hopefully, I feel like that's what Dijak's gimmick basically is right now. It's I'm gonna like get involved with this other character. We're gonna brawl outside of the ring, double count out. We're gonna brawl again outside of a match, and then we're going to have some variation of a match with no real rules. So, hey, that's his role now.
Well, and I mean, I was going to bring that up earlier, too, that they seem to really like putting Dijak in a role where he ends up just
on the losing end. So even his last few feuds, like he took on, even going back as far as Wes Lee taking on, like fighting for the North American title, and then he fought Ilya Dragunov, lost that. He fought Eddie Thorpe, lost that. It feels like he's not charting upward the way that he should. And unfortunately, it feels like Gacy's going to get the win on Sunday because they want this new character to work. So even if he gets a sneaky win or a DQ win, it's still going to be a win that I don't know how many more losses Dijak can feasibly take.
He's kind of a mid-card gatekeeper to an extent.
The Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, I'd say even like, and I'm sorry, Dijak, I'd even say kind of a Baron Corbin, where it's like you know exactly what you're going to get out of him in the ring, and you know what level he's going to be perceived at. A win over him isn't worthless, but like it's a lower mid-card peg, you know? And you're right, they've kind of
as much as it should be.
Well, and that's kind of like what I felt like they were in danger of doing with Nakamura on Raw, where it's just like he loses every damn program that he's a part of. And it's just,
and he didn't have a particularly good showing in the Rumble too, if I remember.
No, he did not. Oh, and speaking of the Rumble again, real quick before we kind of get into our Constable Corbin and Megastars of the Night, at the Rumble, I was listening for it. Did they make any mention of Braun's father being Rick Steiner on commentary?
Not tonight that I remember. At
the Royal Rumble. Sorry, at the Royal Rumble, did they make any mention of it?
Oh, I don't think I was paying attention.
Okay, I was trying to listen for it, and I didn't remember hearing it. So I thought that was kind of odd to not acknowledge that on his first pop up to the main roster. But it's also possible too that they don't think a lot of the main audience would remember who Rick Steiner by name was, and if they mention the Steiner brothers, then they're going to expose a lot of folks to Scott.
Well, they inducted them into the Hall of Fame a couple years ago.
That's true, but they still don't trust him with a live mic for too long.
Basically, that 10-minute speech, and even then, Rick talked for most of it.
It's like the Iron Sheik, rest your soul, Sheiky baby. But you didn't want to put a live mic in front of the Sheik for very long. That was danger written all over that. I will say I met the Iron Sheik at a comic shop here, and just not too far from the house, and really nice dude. I will say it was awesome. It was years and years ago. It was interesting guest to have at a comic shop, but it's a nice guy.
The biggest name that I think I got to meet, or at least my favorite that I've got to meet, there was a wrestling convention that was held near my hometown, and they had the Brainbusters, Arn and Tully. They had Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Howard Finkel. They had Lanny Poffo was there.
Oh, yeah.
And then I knew the promoter that was working with that. Shout out Danny Duggan, Canada's Wrestling Elite. And I remember this crowd was making a commotion, and then they see someone come up, and they sit him down in the chair. And I was kind of far back away, but I saw Danny standing right beside me, and I go, "Who's that coming in?" And he goes, "Well, that's Bobby Heenan." And this was about, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 months before he died.
Oh, wow.
This had to be one of his last few appearances.
Yeah, damn.
I had a copy of his biography, the DVD that WWE put out, and I'm a broadcaster by trade. And when I grew up watching wrestling, talkers were the people that I gravitated toward the most, because I'm not athletic, I'm not tall, I'm not muscle bound, so I gravitated towards the characters, and it was these guys like Bobby Heenan, like Paul Heyman, that can weave the English language into gold in ways that I really and truly love and appreciate. And I got to tell him that directly to his face. But his throat cancer had advanced to the point that he was fairly non-vocal. But his wife approached me afterward and said that he appreciates getting those comments from fans, and she thanked me for saying that to him. It was an incredible experience, and
awesome.
like even the night that the day that he passed, like that night, I was pretty torn up. Like he was big influence on my quote unquote civilian career as a broadcaster. Like I worked in radio, I worked in journalism, and I don't know that I would be half the broadcaster I am without inspiration like Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic! See, that's why when people ask things like why do you love wrestling so much? Why do you care about wrestling? It's things like that. That's why we care. It is more than a passing interest. It's more than a hobby, guys. Like this is shit that like our hearts are tied to heavily. Like a lot of people say it's like, oh, like something's really cool, but don't build your personality around it. No. Things from professional wrestling are absolutely valid things to like sculpt and build who you are, and that's awesome, dude. And that's really cool that you guys are telling him that. That's because God, that had to have been one of his final appearances. Because
he had flight delays that day too, so I'm sure he was already fatigued and probably jet lagged. But then he still came right from the airport to the symposium. And he still stayed and met with fans and did the whole kit and caboodle. So props to him. Still miss him.
Yep. One of the all-time greats for sure. But we'll bring a wee bit of goofy levity back to this, as Bobby probably would have appreciated himself. I think exactly. I think he would enjoy a lot of the cruel yet clever cuts and jabs we throw at folks like Baron Corbin. But we will move on to our Constable Corbin of the night. Oh goodness gracious! I'm actually going to go with Ava. Like I said, I was going to give her a little praise, but my God, she is one of the dim spots on the show in terms of character work. Like, there's no excuse for it. She should be better. Like, come on. Like, do you think The Rock watches this? Do you think like he sees at least her segments of NXT?
Absolutely not. The Rock doesn't. The Rock
wasn't he at the performance center?
Absolutely not.
That's so damn sad.
Do you think that he would watch her on television perform that dryly and not act immediately? I feel like if he was watching that and he saw that, like after how she's been in the performance center for like 3 years, right? She's had a couple of injuries on really bad injuries. I don't think she's going to work out as an in-ring performer. And that's why they're trying everything in their mother to make this work. But do you think if The Rock was watching Ava on television performing the way she does, do you not think he would be like, let's get her off television into an acting class? Let's get her something. Bro, he's like one of the biggest fucking stars in Hollywood. Why is he allowing his daughter to be presented on television in this uncooked, raw, unseasoned way? I'm a father. Like, I have daughters. Yeah. I would never. I would be like, babe, like, honey, please, like, we can work on this. No, not just get better, but like, I would help. Like, there's no way he's just leaving her out there drowning. Like, that's not even fair. That's just not.
So we just gotta get this to The Rock, is what you're saying. We just gotta make sure he sees this, and the whole thing will be taken care of. That's all.
I'm sorry. I really feel that way. It's not her fault, man. She should be having help.
That was from a real place, John. And if you need to talk, buddy, we're here.
Help Ava Rain, please.
Get the help you need. But yeah, so she's my jobber of the night. Bada boom.
You know what? That is very fair. For kind of similar reasons, I got to go with Brooks Jensen. Like his presentation is purely based on the fact that he's the third guy in a 3-person group. Like you saw Briggs getting pushed ahead of him, you saw Fallon getting pushed ahead of him, and now literally his storyline is trying to get the band back together when it was his prompt for them to break up in the first place. So I gotta say it's a huge step backwards for him and his character. That's Jobber of the Night written all over it for me.
Yeah, absolutely fair.
And you know what? I gotta give it a tie here for my Jobber of the Night. Dijak and Joe Gacy. This whole storyline, like I really hope this is just a bump in the road. I loved what they were doing with Joe Gacy and Gallus. It was fantastic. Like it was
that looks like
pure
a dummy
entertainment.
for some reason.
That looks like a fake body. And I think that there was a camera angle where they cut to a camera behind Dijak, and I feel like the only reason they cut to that camera was so that we could see Joe Gacy's face and have you think it was actually him that went off the truck when they cut back to the wider shot.
Yeah. Like, because that looked like not just a dummy, it looked like when they would do like a Saturday Night Live sketch in the mid 90s and they would like throw something like that. But yeah, it wasn't.
Oh, exactly.
Doesn't look great up on review. But solid choices there. CJ, who do you have for your megastar this evening?
I'm still thinking about that. So if you've got one,
right.
You go right ahead.
I'm going to. I'm going with a little bit of a knee jerk here. There was a lot that went on tonight. Go home show, but I'm going to go with the guy that I think I've picked maybe once or twice. I need to go back and see that too. See who I've picked multiple times, and at the end of the year, we'll tally them all up and see who got the most love and the most criticism.
Megastar of the year as voted by us.
Oh, see, that's fantastic because there's no flipping way I remember this stuff from week to week in terms of like who I pick. Like I'm pretty sure I have picked this individual before, but like I don't know when or how many times. But that being said,
my notes are written in my notes app, and I just keep reusing the same note on a regular basis. Like I don't save my notes from week to week. I just copy and paste over, or I just select all and delete. Holy cow, that's a lot of notes.
Some of us are keeping the paper industry alive. I love The Office so much that I want to keep using paper because of Dunder Mifflin. But
fair enough.
My megastar of the night is Lexus King. I think his presentation continues to be very solid, very strong. He is not, the best in the ring they have in NXT, but he's growing and he's getting better every week. And I think that they have a lot of faith in him, and I think they see a fairly high upside. I'm starting to like the name Lexus King a lot more. A lot of times with names, you have to be able to say the name followed by World Heavyweight Champion, and it has to sound good. And I could see, World Heavyweight Champion Lexus King sounds great. What you would never have heard was World Heavyweight Champion Butch. See what I mean?
That's fair.
That name means everything. And a lot of folks said that Dolph Ziggler being named Dolph Ziggler held him back in that company. And it's possible. It was always a silly kind of sounding name. I never thought it was that bad. But
I mean, World Heavyweight Champion Dolph Ziggler was a term that we heard on WWE.
That's
TV.
why I never thought it was a big deal for Dolph. I thought he did fine. I just thought the injuries what derailed that. But hey, John.
True.
Did you guys see that story he just told where it appears like Pat Patterson used to push for him really hard because he really believed in Dolph Ziggler, and they used to book Ziggler like shit just to
make Pat upset and see what he would do.
And just see his face.
You can't rib a guy with someone else's career.
With someone else's life. With his whole life, bro. That's the kind of thing he had to deal with. It wasn't even the name. Or he had to deal with just that. Like, someone loved me. so they hated me. That's the kind of company this was.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the better days are still to come, but holy fuck.
Yeah, not a good time then. But yeah, so Alexis, my megastar of the night.
Soup is gonna hate me, but my megastar is JC Jane. The fact that she was able to pull this saving grace together and save Chase U is like some top tier stuff. Like this, they've managed to present the JC Jane from Toxic Attraction, who the whole point of her feud coming out of that stable with Gigi Dolan was JC Jane is a terrible human being. Like this is the same woman who brought Gigi's brother into their feud. And now all of a sudden she's playing savior to Chase U, and it's not coming across as like she's gonna stab them in the back in the end.
Right.
She may still, but it appears, at least at this time, still very genuine. And the fact that we get to see more Chase U on NXT as a result of that, JC's my megastar.
All right, fantastic. Soup just threw a shoe. You know, it's always shoes now. Thank you, Tony Storm, for that. But fantastic. Brings another exciting episode of NXT to a close. CJ, tell the good folks watching at home or wherever they're at, hey, at home, in their car, hopefully not if you're actually driving in the car, be safe. But tell the folks
well, you can listen hands-free.
There you go, exactly. You can listen. You don't need to see us. You know, I was always told I had a face for radio, so there's
this is a very audio friendly show. We're very audio friendly. You can rip us from YouTube into an MP3 and it would work.
Well, and
you can make us a MIDI file if you want. We'll just boop and bop and beep at you, but
I'll be your MIDI file.
I have a campus community radio station in my town. Like we could probably get broadcast on there if I talk to the right people.
See, there we go. Dirt Sheet Radio. We're taking over the terrestrial. Oh, God, hit my laptop. We're taking over the terrestrial airwaves, guys. It's
Dirt Sheet Radio. It's about time we incorporated radio into the mix.
There you go. See, bam. It's truth in advertising, guys. But CJ, tell the folks where they can see you next and where they can find you, sir.
Not on Sunday, that's for sure. I unfortunately have to sit out a Vengeance Day. I am excited to watch the recap that you and Soup are gonna put on for that, though. As far as when you can see me next, I will be on the Dirt Sheet Rewind show for SmackDown this Friday and every Friday, and then here rewinding NXT this or next Tuesday and every Tuesday, every other day in between. You can usually find me on Twitter at CJCarter22.
Oh yeah. And I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster at PW Hipster on all of the socials except for Facebook, which is the Pro Wrestling Hipster, like the Ohio State University. But hopefully, I don't come across as obnoxious as it sounds when I hear that all around town here. Sorry, guys, I don't really watch college
think of
football.
the Brian Kendrick. I know I make that joke.
You know what? Maybe that's how I should start relating that instead, because I like that much more, and it's more pro wrestling tied. So,
World Heavyweight Champion, the Pro Wrestling Hipster.
There you go. Bam, the Pro Wrestling Hipster. Over on Facebook, but and I'm here every Tuesday night with CJ and hopefully Soup next week. But breaking down NXT also on Monday nights with Caesar and Eduardo. Eduardo is still en route home from the Royal Rumble, but he is back home safe, and we will have him back on the show next week. And I will be here Sunday breaking down Vengeance Day. We'll see what happens. Should be a pretty fun show. But thanks everybody out there that tunes in live and watches us on delay. For Dirt Sheet Radio, have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time, guys.